You're on.
I'm sorry. I'd like to call to order the Finance Committee meeting of the Ascension Parish Council on Monday, February the 4th. I would like to ask Mr. Ken Dawson if he would lead us in the opening prayer and the pledge, please.
Let's pray. Father, we come tonight and we give you glory and praise and thanks, oh God, for all that you've done and the blessing that you bestow upon us. Father, during this new year, oh God, we ask that you watch over the troops, oh God, that are employed in the different areas of harm, oh God, that you watch over them, keep them safe, oh God, and we ask that you encourage their families. Father, as we come tonight, we ask for your wisdom and guidance, oh God, in making decisions for the citizens of Ascension Parish, oh God. Let our decisions ring true, Father, for the benefit of all. We ask these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all so much. I would like to mention now that if there will be a public comment period, if there's anyone in the audience who would like to comment on any agenda item, please come and sign in with the secretary, and you will be allowed 3 minutes to speak at the appropriate time. Gentlemen, we did begin for the first time this meeting sending you the agenda on Novus. So some of you may have brought your laptops and are prepared to work through this agenda with that. Otherwise, and likewise, there is a packet for your perusal. But, please let us know if you're having any difficulty at all operating your agenda through Novus, and that we know it's all functioning correctly. We will begin with item number 5, the monthly contract reports. Ms. Kimlin Bailey Lomas.
The monthly contract report for January 2013 was included in your packets. It's rather lengthy this time because those are our renewals for this year. I'll give you a minute to look over those.
Does anyone have any questions, gentlemen? Did I hear a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Dempsey Lambert.
Kimlin, on the Sun Electric, moving into the baseball season, the $20,000, is that yearly? Would we leave that amount?
Generally, if something happens, like there's an emergency or something, then something used for an amendment, but 20,000 generally what we would say. If we have the customer,
Appreciate that, yeah.
Garney informed us that we normally use Sun Electric if it's something we can't do ourselves. And that's why it shouldn't cost us as much.
Yeah, I know we're getting in, some of the lights, last year we had some problems and we ran over on a few of them, so I just wanted to make sure we had enough in it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Councilman Sadler.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. Kimlin, item number 24, Infinity Edge Software. It's a year's contract for offsite, it says backup of the Prairieville Fire Department for a little over $6,000.
Yes, sir.
Does that mean a computer backup of their data daily or something, or? I'm wondering why that figure is so high, because their software is in-house, just placed on computers. It could be networked to several for much less amounts of money. They could if it's a computer backup, or is this, what does the word backup mean?
For in-house with the parish is normally if the system is down or there's something we need ran on our check or something. Brandon's here, he can further explain it to you, but
We currently don't provide any IT services for the fire department. I don't know what their backup situation is right now, but whenever those services are placed on there, in that case, that's computer data backups. I don't know anything about the contract, though.
Oh, thank you. So it is a computer backup. Now, the next question would be, assume there was a competitive bid process for this? No?
it's only $6,000.
Go ahead.
Doesn't that go through?
Oh, you're asking the
Tommy,
chairman.
do you want to answer?
Yeah, any professional services, you really don't have to go out for bids on professional services. Now, we do because we have a selection committee, and we did go with that. But the fire departments they basically take care of their own funds, and they do their own business. We actually, the only thing we do is basically own the building on paper only. They actually do, they own it, but they can't actually own property.
Thank you for that, Mr. President. A follow-up question would be, too, what about the other fire departments? Are they backing their computers up? And what, I don't see services.
We don't provide IT services for any of the fire
So in the
departments at
parish,
this
we
time.
don't back anything up for any fire department anywhere?
No, sir.
Councilman Johnson?
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
You do have the capability of doing it,
Yes, sir, we do.
so it's very reasonable to go into an intergovernmental agreement that where at least the parish administrator that's here will know what's going on in the parish government, since we do run their finances too.
Yes, sir. In Fire District 1's case, we actually did approach them about this opportunity, and it went in front of their board, and I never heard back as far as how they voted or which way it went.
Has Fire District 3, has any approach been made to them about you doing
No.
the backup?
No, we are helping them on a GIS project right now to help them map out some fire hydrants in the district, but as far as IT services, that has not been discussed.
Yes, Councilman Joseph?
Is there a cost to the GIS? Are you charging them?
No, not for GIS services, we're not.
Okay.
If you want us to approach them to see if they would like to use us, if that's what you're asking,
Yes, Mr. President, that's precisely what I'm asking.
so we can do that. We can ask.
And when you do that, Mr. O'Day, Brandon, you're capable, obviously, number one, and probably can be, correct me if I'm wrong, very competitive in price.
Yes, I believe we could, using existing equipment that we have. We might need to.
Because my original comment, it still stands, that $6,000 seems like an awful lot to be backing up a computer system.
Sure. We might need to purchase some additional disk space, and I'm not sure what the burden would be on our staff, but I believe we could be pretty competitive, yes.
Well, thank you, and Mr. President.
Councilman Johnson?
I know Fire District 1 years ago bought a server, and I think that's what they're using because of the tying into multiple departments in as far as doing fire reports and having that come in. I'm not sure how they're using that or if that is capable, if they've got a secondary one that they're using for backup. I haven't been in touch with to that point of it in a while, but I can't answer the same thing as far as Fire District 3 or 2, but I think Fire District 1 may be in-house doing their own. That's why you don't see anything here, but we'd have to double check with them. We can, like you said, we can always ask them and see what their status is.
Absolutely.
And I would have you bear in mind, gentlemen, that the funds that are handled by Fire District 3 are Fire District 3's funds. So this would be a discussion to be taken up with their Board of Commissioners.
Right. This is, we act as a pass-through, basically.
Right,
I mean,
it's a pass-through on it.
They're an independent group, and they manage their funds, but they pass it through the parish.
Correct.
Madam Chairman?
Sure.
Yeah, I agree with that, but my concern too is that we just passed another 10 mills on top of 10 mills. We have 20 mills in Prairieville now, and I think it behooves their district to be the best shepherd of the funds they can be, period. Because when they come to us again, let's say for another, probably won't come and ask for another uppance of that ad valorem tax. but one of them's about to expire, and I'm sure they're probably going to ask for it to go for blank more years. I'm much more prone to support that if they are showing a track record of a good usage of the money. Again, $6,000 is a lot of money to back up a computer system. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yeah, your point is well taken. Councilman Lohr?
I understand Councilman Satterley's point, but just wanted to make a comment because I live in that world, the IT world. $6,000 really will burn through pretty quickly in IT. It's, I mean, a couple server racks and things like that. I mean, I have no idea what exactly it's for, but I think they've done a lot of custom applications for the fire departments. So, I mean, depending on how critical and if it needs to be redundant and fail over and all that stuff, you can burn up some server money pretty quickly. So, that, you know, that could very well be the justification, but we'd have to find out from the fire district board.
Thank you. Wonderful discussion, gentlemen. Thank you so much. And we will move along. Item number 6. Item number 6 is an issue. I don't think we have to vote on this. It's information.
Just information.
Item number 6 is an area that I asked together with after some discussion with the parish president and others about how we would handle nonprofit appropriations. Got Martha Collins involved, and you all agreed to appoint, and did so months ago, a subcommittee of this committee. And the work that you're going to hear from Martha about tonight and is the result of that subcommittee's work. And I would also like to thank Martha very much for her efforts on our behalf. And your work was outstanding, and we appreciate it. And also, we have a guest this evening. Mr. Tanner Johnson is here with Baton Rouge Area Foundation, and he would like to lend his voice to this discussion as well. So we'll welcome them both.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. As you know, it takes more than one person to do something. This committee has worked diligently. This grant staff has supported the initiatives of the committee. And at this time, if you would mind, Madam Chairman, I'd like to introduce the committee members to the finance. Ms. Dawn Caballero represents the Finance Committee, and all of the initiatives that were brought forth concerning finance, that was a person that brought the issues back to him and helped resolve. Councilman Doc Satterley is representing the council and was also elected chairman of this committee. Our finance chair, Madam Chairman, is with us. And Tanner Johnson with the Baton Rouge Area Foundation. And if you wouldn't mind, Madam Chairman, I'd like to have him say a few words from his perspective on just funding of a nonprofit.
Absolutely.
Mr.
Thank
Johnson?
you. Tanner, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much, members of the committee. I was asked to serve in my role as Director of Donor Services with the Baton Rouge Area Foundation. Baton Rouge Area Foundation is an institution that in 2 years will celebrate its 50th anniversary. Its sole purpose is to serve donors who have an interest in philanthropic giving in the greater region of Baton Rouge, which includes this parish and parishes beyond East Baton Rouge Parish. Those donors frequently have need to evaluate nonprofits that solicit them for donations and maybe that they, on their own initiative, want to give money to. So we have a professional staff, the expertise of which I humbly represent here on this subcommittee, that its work every day is to evaluate the worthiness of nonprofits who solicit our donors for contributions. So my role has been in helping Martha develop the work you see before you, and our role would be to simply lend our input from that expertise and nothing else. So thank you very much for the honor of serving on this subcommittee, and I look forward to working with you all. And if you have any questions, let me know.
I want to make mention and thank you, Tanner, myself, for agreeing to serve. He is not being paid by Ascension Parish to come to meetings in Ascension Parish and participate in this. He has agreed to serve on the selection committee as we move forward, which will be made up of the same committee members that you have already selected here. And his expertise has helped us tremendously. He does that as a gift to us from the Baton Rouge Area Foundation, and I thank him and his boss man, Mr. John Spain, for allowing him to come and participate in that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. In October 15th, 2012, we addressed the Finance Committee with a packet that said these are some items that we would like to address for coming up with a program for nonprofit funding. The packet or the information that was provided for you tonight for your review is we prepared guidelines for this. I will back up just a little bit because these documents have been reviewed by legal and have all of the stipulations from a legal standpoint, if we so move to go forward, have been addressed. So that's something that you needed to know up front. We have guidelines. We are not calling this a grant. It's going to be an appropriation as recommended by legal counsel. We have an application that has been put together that we feel will address all of the needs from the area, from transparency, holding nonprofits agreeable, and then, accountable, and move forward on that. We have a checklist. We have a rating sheet on how the applications will be rated, and we have a progress form that encompasses what this project would entail. We feel like the committee has addressed almost all of the areas as a group, but Madam Chair, if you would have any questions or any of the members, we'd be happy to address it.
Madam Chair?
Councilman Lowell.
I want to thank the committee, especially Tanner. I know you, as you said, have a lot of expertise in this area from doing this in your daily job, but just your willingness to serve as well and continue to serve, volunteering for us. We certainly appreciate that. Martha, I know you've been working for us for a number of years doing the grants, so we appreciate that. Councilman Satterley, I know you have experience with grants as well, and we appreciate your efforts on this. And Madam Chair, I think this is something I'm absolutely excited about and can support. It is something that we have all been faced with a number of very good organizations that do good work for our community, but everybody, of course, needs funding, and we are faced with a limited budget, especially a lot of unfunded mandates and things that we continuously struggle with. So this is a way to kind of solve that puzzle. I love the way that it is bringing some order to it in terms of requirements with having to be a 501c3. It's a very nice application process. It's transparent. It ensures we're being financially prudent, and I think the process is very well done. So thanks again for everyone's hard work on this.
You're quite welcome. Mr. Martinez.
Yes, I think it's a well-written document also. I want to thank everybody that served on it, and I know that there's some exceptions, correct, to the rule here. There's going to be, I think, LSU livestock and military and AEDC, is that correct?
Currently, the 2013 budget is set, so everything that was funded through the 2013 budget is already. These are applications for 2014. And the budget that was prepared for 2013, it was divided in nonprofit and then other appropriations. Those others were, Mr. President, the ACUD.
AEDC.
I'm sorry, Ascension Economic Development Corporation, LSU Corporate Extension Service. There were some others that were listed in this as far as an appropriation that were coming out of the drainage. It was lower Delta soil and New River soil conservation. Those are some that were actually being funded through an appropriation, but it comes out of the drainage, so it would not be considered a part of an application. So there are some items that were in the 2013 budget that this would not apply to. It is strictly a nonprofit application. Did I answer that, sir?
You did, and as I said, I think it's a well-written document. I like that they have to show financial statements and those type things, and where the money's going, and you know, how much goes for salaries and those type things. So, as I said, job well done, and thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Joseph?
Yes, Madam Chair. That list, I just want to make sure, first of all, I want to compliment all the board members, committee members on this. It's desperately needed. And we have, like the chairman, Chris Lord said, we get people to come up here and ask us for funding. And, you know, sometimes it's hard to say no. And, but on these exemptions, my question is, do you have a list of them who will be exempt from this process? That's one of the questions. I thought we was gonna get that list. I know we have a lot of them that is on the list, but,
The list of exemptions has been, is the ones we mentioned. The veterans,
Okay.
Affairs
I'll be happy to read them off if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Madam Chair. Ascension Economic Development Corporation, LSU Corporate Extension Service, County Agent. These are all were funded in 2013. They're currently there. South Central District Livestock Show, Lower Delta Soil and Conservation, New River Soil and Conservation District, National Guard Veterans Service Officer. Those were the ones that we are currently funding in 2013. At the time when we do meet with finance for the budgeting, then the items that are not appropriate for the application will be going through, and it would be determined whether it would fall under the nonprofit application or it would be exempt in this, and it would be coming out of a different funding.
so it would just come, OJ, I see where you're going with this, but it would come from what, we will allocate that to a different line item in the budget.
I have, okay, those items right there, I'm cool.
Okay.
I'm kind of confused with those other ones, you know, I mean, not 4-H, but there's a list of, like the African American Museum.
They will all write for grants or for appropriations.
Well, that's what I mean. We gave out like 200 and something thousand dollars. Those was the list that I would prefer to see that say, these are out of the picture. These are the only.
But they are not out of the picture. Those
They're
are
out of the pic-
able to write for
for the grant.
appropriations.
That's what I'm saying.
Appropriate.
They're not a line item
Correct.
like these.
Right.
And that's what I.
Okay, all I have,
And I just
Councilman
want
Joseph
everybody
is
to
the
understand
one-
in the public that,
Right.
you know, look, guys, yeah, we've been helping you, but you're on this cutoff list. We're not funding you in 2014. You better put in an application. I just want the
Correct.
public to be specific. I don't want them to come here telling me we didn't know.
Well, appropriate methods will be used to publish this. Martha
Right.
will, and the finance department will definitely let anyone know who was receiving
Right.
appropriations from us before, that this is the process that they will need to undertake. Any other questions?
all we had to go with is the 12 and 13. I don't have access to those others that maybe had been funding in the past. But we will work towards providing that to anyone that, and we'll advertise it. There's going to be a process and where we're going to put it in the paper or put it up on the website or, you know, as far as putting the message out there. And it would be incumbent on the council members that if you know of someone, to make sure they help or apply. And there will be a schedule. This year, we're going to kind of extend the schedule for taking applications. Once it's approved and goes to the council and it's approved there, then we will automatically start the clock in trying to get a timeline of 2 months is what we plan on giving anyone that wants to apply, so that they would have ample time to apply for this. And then we'll rotate in and get the, shift the timeline, because this is going to be the 2015. It will be already set forth. So you will have all those timelines already in the works.
Councilman Kluot.
Yeah, just to summarize what you said, everybody that is presently or within the last 2 years have been presently is receiving funds from us that falls within this category you said, they will be notified, right? Okay, and the next thing is that we're basically looking to possibly put this in effect, if everybody agrees on it, for the 2014 budget.
Yes, sir.
And that deadline to have the 2014 budget is going to run to get these grants in and have them summarized and reviewed probably within this, about a third quarter? The end of the third quarter
We're
this
hoping
year?
to have the applications in, if the council so moves to accept this, then we will immediately start the process for allowing 2 months out. I think that was what we decided. 2 months to get the word out, get the application out. We'll give them, then we'll bring them in. They'll be rated. They will go through the process, then it will come back to this commission and report it on, and then you will take that and move it forward to the council.
Since you don't know when this is going to be approved and you want to give them 2 months, so this year may be a variable, but next year in 2014 for the 2015 budget.
It's set.
When do y'all anticipate this deadline being?
It's in your packet, Randy. I think it's March the
Okay.
15th.
March 31st, I
March
think is
31st,
what
yeah.
the end is. It'll be from January to March 31st. That will be the cutoff, and then we'll
Yeah,
move
we'll have a
through
little
the process.
flexibility this year because
Yeah.
we're not quite finished
Well,
yet.
look-
But,
All
Mr.
right.
President?
We are putting a lump sum, correct?
Yes.
One
Yeah.
amount, and then, so it doesn't matter over the year, it's gonna be appropriated for 2014. You can dole out the appropriations as you see fit, so it's not gonna, and come July, when we start, dealing with the budget, we're gonna put $100,000 or whatever you say
Yeah.
in it, and then budget will be passed, and then you can dole it out as you see fit.
Thank you.
Councilman
So-
Shake Snyder?
so ba-
Yeah, I would, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I apologize, Randy. I
That's
thought you were
all right.
done.
Well, thank you very much for your work. Seriously, that this is, gets to be a messy subject sometimes. And I really appreciate the ones that you did set aside and y'all made special, made sure that these folks, especially the Veterans Affairs and everything, thank you, Doc, thank y'all on the committee. And we really appreciate it. So it ought to be a better organization for us to be able to supply.
Again, my apology for cutting you off, Mr. Kluot.
Oh, that's all right.
And Councilman Shake Snyder?
Yes, and again, thanks to everyone, and a lot of times we get, you get $5,000 and $10,000 to death, and people don't realize what's sum total over a year. We've been going over a couple $100,000, and I think by far, I want to commend this body for supporting everyone in the parish. All of these people are deserving. All of these people in the past are deserving, and so unfortunately, without unlimited pockets, but this body has supported those people, and I think above and beyond any other local bodies, elected bodies. So, we want to congratulate everybody for participating. And the question I had was if you have, I know we listed the ones that were, I guess, governmental offshoots like the soil.
Right.
If we have one that comes up, we just put through appropriations in the budget?
I would have to go.
That would be,
Ms. Gwynn, how would they handle that? If something came up, that would be.
it's got New River soil. What if they have Francois soil or whatever? That comes up and that should be exempt. Do we go through a budget process or,
It probably comes out of
yeah,
committee.
budget amendment?
It would probably come out of a committee that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a
recommends it.
nonprofit. I guess that's what I'm
Right,
getting at.
that's correct.
So, okay, but that would
Mr.
be the
Chairman.
class. I was just wondering what class is that in that we?
Yeah.
I'm trying.
I do want to mention too that for the first round, it was deemed that we would take certain sectors for funding. This year, it was listed, if you'll see on there, that 4 areas that we will be looking at this year. And I think it's going to be the, Councilman Sarah, you remember that?
Senior citizens,
Seniors.
children's services, volunteer services, and the mentally and physically challenged.
Right.
Yep.
That'll be the 4 areas of,
That's correct.
that we will be receiving applications from.
Right, and then next year, when, for the beginning of the year, it might be deemed that those areas were served, and then we look at other areas that could be beneficial for this. It is not set in stone, the sectors, but it will give you a little flexibility in what areas that serve a need that we want to spearhead to help move things forward. And I believe, Madam Chairman, we agreed upon or recommending that it's $100,000 in this first go-round, is what we were given as a amount to work
That's
with.
correct. That's the amount that we talked about. Of course, that'll come up again when we start talking about the budget.
Right, so,
Any other questions?
We're not going to be determining what we
That,
recommend.
that it does not have to be determined tonight.
Okay.
It can be, certainly, if you all would like to move forward on that. I'll be happy to recommend to the council that, or have it come from this body to recommend not only that we do this program, but that we fund it at a level of $100,000. Councilman Joseph?
Yes, what was our budget for this year? And, I would say donation, that's what it was, donation. Well, how much money we, gave up?
for the 2013, we have
Budget.
an estimate of what we, I don't have any added figures, it's just categories.
Over
of-
200?
It was over
Over
200.
300?
It was definitely over that.
Yeah.
But you also have in there the Ascension Economic Development
That was
Group,
like
which was, it kind of skews it. So you probably,
I think, Martha, I added them up. It's $79,000, $80,000 actually in funding for the categories that we would have funded in this year. So
Yeah.
we can certainly go with a $75,000 figure for these kind of appropriations, or we can go with 100. I mean, I thought that would, we would discuss that at budget time, and we would have had time to look more thoroughly at how much money.
I make a motion that we pass this forward to council, and we put it at recommended 100,000.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Motion from Councilman Kent Shake Snyder, second from Councilman Chris Lord. Any questions or objections? Hearing none, the motion passes.
thank you, gentlemen and madam.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it very much. And now on to the next item, number 7, the property and casualty insurance presentation by Mr. Harry Robert. Welcome, Harry. We're happy to have you with us tonight.
Thank you, Council Lady and Councilman. As always, I appreciate your time, your confidence, and the opportunity you give me to work with you. I know I'm here to discuss property and casualty, but if you don't mind, I'd like to just spend a few minutes just kind of reviewing what we did in the medical insurance just a couple of months back, If y'all remember, we switched from Humana to Coventry, and we did that basically because of 3 reasons, okay? One, they were substantially lower in pricing. Number 2, they offered us 2 different programs. They had a matching program, and they had the Care Link, which is a narrow list of providers at a little bit less premium. And the third thing was the wellness program, or called Healthy Lives, okay? At this stage, things are going on real well. Coventry did an outstanding job in the transition. The Human Resource Department, along with the finance people, did an excellent job. Mandy, Christy, and Cheryl were unbelievable in the transition. And in fact, the regional representative of Coventry even called to compliment them on their efforts to make this transition as smooth as they did. We had probably a few little glitches, and the main glitch was caused by myself because I had the opportunity right after we decided to give Coventry the business, and they were going to handle HSA, which is the health savings account. We had the opportunity to place the HSA directly with the bank that had been carrying it before to eliminate any transitions in the future. If we switched insurance companies again, we'd never have to switch to HSA carrier. So I knew that probably would throw us back a little bit, and it caused maybe a little inconvenient for a few people, but that's worked out now, and I think that probably it was the best decision to do that. So overall, I guess probably, and we met, several times with department heads and insurance who represented different departments, with the human resource department, just to stay on top of everything to make sure that the transition was as smooth as it possibly could be. And at this stage, I would think maybe that probably just about all the kinks have been worked out, and we're just looking forward to serve the employees of the parish. Okay. And that's about it. If I have any questions, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If not, property and casualty insurance is pretty boring and pretty simple. And you should have a folder like this in front of you. Okay. The table of contents just shows the companies that we solicited quotes from. It has some basic policy information, which is minor, because we couldn't convey exactly the concept of the policies, but something that's been appreciated in the past is just to show exactly who's an insured underneath the policies. And if you read that, it's pretty comprehensive. It's probably as comprehensive as the name insured that we possibly could come up with. The valuation of the property is on a replacement cost basis. And then it's also insured on a special form, which is as broad of a form as we possibly could obtain. There's no co-insurance. The co-insurance was waived, and all the companies that participated in the program are A-rated companies. Okay, so the reputation and the condition of all the companies is something that we can appreciate. The business, again, was placed with Brown & Brown, who's been our agent for the last 5 or 6 years, and the prices that we received were pretty impressive. If you look at page 5, there's a breakdown of all the different types of coverages. And in the package, you see where we have your automobile, $54,000, which went down from $57,000. General liability is $94,000, which decreased from $99,000. And I know you all understand that very seldom you get a decrease in insurance, so we're pretty proud of this. Some aspects of it we have a decrease. The public official liability was $42,000, it was $54,000. Then you can go down the line, you can see some of the decreases. Then you get to the boiler machinery, that went up a little bit, because of the additional coverages that we had to insure. The property probably was the largest increase. Went up from $427,000 to $442,000, which was about a $15,000 increase for the same values and properties that we had. We looked at different types of deductible to see if we could get, a relief in the premium, but being it was in the budget and it just wasn't substantial enough, to warrant the decrease in the coverage. So we decided just to leave it where it was. But the mobile equipment had a slight increase because we're insuring a lot more equipment than we were insuring before. Okay. The workman's compensation had an increase in some of the payrolls, so the premium went up about $4,000 or $5,000 on that. So overall, the insurance program is about $15,000 to $16,000 more than it was last year, considering the increase in some of the lines and decrease in the other ones. Okay. The agent fees and the TPA fees. The TPA fees are the third-party administrator, which is Resolution Services, Gary Lee. His fees, along with mine, have been constant for the last 20-something years. Combined, they're $44,000. If you look at 28, 29, 30, and 31, it breaks down to where the agent fee for the GL is $13,000. Agent fee for the workman's comp is $69,000. The third-party administration fee for the automobile and all the general liability is $12,000, and for workman's comp is $11,000. Okay. So, as expressed, all those fees have been the same for 15 years. His is on an audited basis, which means that if there's a lot of activity in workman's comp or automobile, but then depending on the severity and the number of claims that he has to adjust, he could have a small increase or bill the parish for any additional amount of time spent in. That's it in a nutshell. We're proud of the program. I think that probably every other parish in the area is kind of envy of ours, you know. A lot of them are taking drastic measures to try to ensure some of the exposures that they have, in as much as trying to reduce the stated values in some of the property in half, just to try to save some dollars, you know. But I feel like we're fortunate with ours. Ours is within budget and just a small increase over the previous years. I'll be happy to answer any question on any aspect. Anything else?
Mr. Martinez?
A couple of questions on the property. Is that because we acquired the hospital, one of the things? Is a
No,
major,
we're not including the hospital in this. You know.
Okay.
Actually, it's just because the price has escalated, you know, something like that. You know, we live in an area now where we're probably becoming more and more vulnerable. You read about, some sections of not too far from us getting hit by hurricanes, by tornadoes and things of that nature. So there's just new modeling, and the companies are trying just to be a little bit more aggressive to get a little bit more premium so they can kind of pay for some of these catastrophes and some of the losses, you know. So we didn't.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I was going to say, we didn't really have an increase in total values, you know, because the hospital and the buildings next to it are just insured separately.
Okay, and the health insurance,
Okay.
total premium for this year as opposed to last year, percentage-wise, how much did we go up or down?
We, on the health insurance, we actually had about I think a 1% reduction compared to last year. You see? Now, if we'd have renewed with the company that was carrying it before, we'd have had an increase. You see? That's one of the reasons why we decided to go ahead and switch, because the prices were, you know, a lot more favorable with Covington than they were with Humana, along with the other reasons, the wellness program and the dual option which they gave us. You know. And I guess we were probably a little bit disappointed with the amount of participants that we had in that special plan, the CareLink plan, which was just a smaller provider list and things of that nature. But at least we position ourselves to where next year, depending on the Affordable Care Act, if we do have to make a move, I think that probably, you know, we're in a better position than we were this year.
That was my next question.
Okay.
Affordable care, where does that leave a agency like
Well,
the parish government? What happens to us?
from what I understand, and there's a lot still unknown about it, I think municipalities and government entities can be subjected to the same rules and regulations that private industry is going to be. Okay, that's what I'm understanding now. I think that probably on the surface, looking at that, it's going to be hard for insurance company to come in and compete to, I think, what's going to be available on the exchanges, you know. So this may be the last year, from what I can see now, that we'll be insuring with, you know, an insurance company like that. Yeah, it just, you know, but there's still a lot that's out to know that. But I mean, it just looks like that's the direction that it's going to be going in for these type
Can we
things.
kind of get updated about mid-year to kind of see
Sure.
what the thought process is? And
Well, I think-
so we'll know kind of how to prepare maybe in the
Yeah.
next year's budget and stuff.
And a lot of this, you know, Mr. President, is just, you know, coming out and surfacing and being interpreted to where it can be practically applied, you know. It's going to be devastating to some companies, to some people, you know, because not everybody, even though they're eligible for insurance with their employer, you know, is going to be able to afford insuring the rest of their families or something of that nature. You know? I mean, you know, our people, I'm talking about the parish people, are pretty fortunate because of the 75% participation. But if you take what's common, most companies, you know, 50%, you know, the remainder of that 50% plus what it's going to cost to insure the rest of your dependents and your family is going to be pretty severe, you know. So there's a lot out of it, you know. There's a lot that we don't really know yet until we really start applying it. It's just too soon to make some of those decisions. Like I said.
You can update us.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. So I guess probably what I need to do is get permission to ensure the
Make that motion, Madam Chairman, that we go
as
accept.
prevented.
I have a motion by
Recommendation.
Councilman Todd Lambert and a second by Councilman Brian Malassaw to have Harry Robert contract with Brown and Brown.
Brown and Brown, right, exactly. And also with the, I guess probably my fee at the agency and the third-party administrator, which is Gary Lee Resolution Services.
Does your motion encompass all of that?
Yes.
Okay, then the motion encompasses the whole presentation.
Presentation, right.
And do we have any questions at all? Any objections? Then the motion passes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Number 8 now, the sales and use tax report, Ms. Gwen LeBlanc.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. You have your normal sales and use tax report. This will be the last report for the year 2012. It's for December collections, which are actually November sales. And you can see if you looked at the year-to-date on the middle column for each of our sales taxing districts, Ascension drainage, year-to-date over 2011 is 10.68% higher. Our sales tax district number 1 is 14.55% higher than 2011, and our half-cent sales tax is 14.98% higher than what we collected in 2011. If you look on the right-hand column, you can see compared to our budget, East Ascension drainage is over budget collections, 13.34%. Our 1 cent is over the budget by 18.76%, and our half cent is over budget by 19.26%. You notice on the half cent sales tax, the amount is $1,444,817. That will be divided between 2/3 to road construction and 1/3 divided amongst our 3 fire protection districts. The half cent will be divided between any excess after we meet our adequate fund balance. 50% goes to our road construction, 25% each to our utilities fund and our recreation fund. And that's all in accordance with the ordinance that adopted the 2012 budget. On the second page is the charts, and you can easily see that every sector in 2012 is above the blue 2011. And then the pie chart, this is how gives you an idea. This is only our 1%, but it gives you an idea, it's not scientific, of where we collect our sales taxes. Petrochemical industry and their suppliers, 49%. Consumer retail, 31%. Motor vehicles, 12%. And business to business, 8%. And the last page is your familiar history chart from 2003 through 2012, and you can easily see that 2012 is the highest year of our sales tax collections in the history of our parish. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Have any questions, gentlemen? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 9, the revenue and expenditure report.
Good evening. Before you are the financial reports for the month of December 2012. I just want to make a note that this is not the final report. We're still in the process of making adjustments and putting in accruals, and we will give you another unaudited financial statement when all of that is completed, and then, of course, when the audit is complete, the auditors will present the audited figures sometime in June. On page 1, total revenues are at 95.40% at 100% of the year. The funds highlighted in green are funds that are under the budget by 5% or more, and we have 12 operating funds and 8 capital funds that fall within that guideline at this time. And on page 4, there's a report that gives an explanation for those funds. On page 2, total expenditures are at 90.25% at 100% of the year. The funds highlighted in green are funds that are over the budget by 5% or more. And we have 3 operating funds and 4 capital funds that fall into that category. And on page 5 is an explanation for those funds. Page 3 are charts that compare both year-to-date revenue and expenditures. For operating, which is the yellow bar, and capital, which is the blue bar, to your budget, which is the green bar. And on the last page of the report is a listing of all checks issued in December that were over 100,000, and the total of these checks are $1,951,800. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them at this time.
Gentlemen, does anyone have any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 10. Ms. Jones-Shivers, bid item.
On January 16, 2013, the Purchasing Department received 4 bids for the 2012 road maintenance project. After review, the Purchasing Department and Parish Engineering Department recommend accepting the lowest responsive bid from F.G. Sullivan Jr., contractor, and to authorize the parish president to enter into any applicable agreement or contract for this project.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion by Councilman Dempsey Lambert.
Second.
Second by Councilman Benny Johnson. Any objections, or let me ask first if there are any questions? Hearing no questions, are there any objections? Hearing no objections, the motion passes. And I look to Councilman Todd Lambert.
Adjourn, Madam
Second.
Chairman.
Thank you.